Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Tidal Flooding Talk, brought to you by the New Jersey Coastal Coalition. New episodes come out every Tuesday night, including this one here, where we have Palma Shiles, Dan Skeldon, and myself. Today's topic is about the ReBeach project in Oceanside, California. I've never been to Oceanside, California. I've been to Southern California once. Have you guys hung out on the southern west coast over there? Palma, I'll start with you.
Well, I have a cousin in Carlsbad near San Diego, and then I also have cousins and my aunt and uncle in Stinson Beach, which is near San Francisco. So I don't know exactly where Oceanside lands in comparison, but those are the locations that I've been.
And by the way, we should say Stinson Beach, we had your cousin on for an episode of Tidal Flooding Talk. You can, like we said, nepotism is alive and well in Tidal Flooding Talk. So you say it proudly, whoever we had from the fam.
Oceanside,
there you go. Yes, exactly. Oceanside is between LA and San Diego, although our guests might have other thoughts. I'm not sure. Dan, you've spent time down in Southern California?
I have not made it to the West Coast. I've made it all across the country, Rockies, points east.
Okay. Gotcha. I've been to LA area once, and that was with my friend. I guess another time I was in LAX for a connection, but I don't know. I guess I was outside for 3 minutes, but I don't really think that. What do you think? Do you think airports count as you visiting somewhere if you're connecting in an airport? Does that count?
Technically, yeah, but you don't really get the flavor of where you're visiting. But I count Minnesota for that. Minneapolis, I connected as that's my only venture into the land of 10,000 lakes. But it's a state I visited. Yes.
Okay. All right. Just wondering. All right, so why don't let's bring in our guest here. We're going to bring in Jamie Timberlake. She is the Coastal Program Manager for Oceanside, California. She's here to join us today with the ReBeach project. We should say Oceanside, California is part of the American Coastal Coalition, not to be confused with the New Jersey Coastal Coalition. However, the American Coastal Coalition and the New Jersey Coastal Coalition are friends. So when we saw in a newsletter the work that Jamie was doing in Oceanside, California, we reached out to Dan Ginolfi at the American Coastal Coalition, and he set it up like that. Took us a few months to get her on the schedule because we have a busy schedule, but it was like that. And now we're here with you. So Jamie, welcome to the show. We appreciate you coming on.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, a lot of props to Dan. I know Dan from working with him on another project in a coastal city to the south of Oceanside that's had a lot of success with beach restoration. And so major props to Dan, which is why I responded so fast.
Okay, that's great. Well, Dans are always good, right? Dans are always speedy. They're accurate. They're on the ball here. Just tell us, real quick, and then we'll get into ReBeach. What the American Coastal Coalition has done for you guys as being a member of them.
Well, we just actually joined in really recently, but they're helping us on the West Coast. We are pretty sometimes unaware of everything that's happening on the East Coast, and then also, we don't really get a lot of the Army Corps funding that the East Coast gets. We don't have catastrophic hurricanes hit our coast very often, but we do have waves consistently eating away at our coastline, and so really, the American Coastal Coalition has really helped connect us to the East Coast and then just bring us into the fold with all the other cities that are working on similar efforts of beach restoration and coastal resilience.
Gotcha. Speaking of East Coast and West Coast, I was doing some research on you, Jamie, before our episode, and a lot of that included going to your LinkedIn page. And I didn't realize that you went to maybe the two most beautiful universities in the United States, at UC Santa Barbara and the University of Miami. So was that part of the plan in life? I'm going to go to the two best looking colleges in America, or did it just happen that way?
No, I'm a beach lover. I'm a surfer. I'm a diver. So I kind of followed my
passions. Gotcha.
And it's worked out professionally.
Yeah, I would definitely say so. Yeah, for sure. I've been to University of Miami. I've heard good things about UC Santa Barbara. Anyway, all right. So let's get into the ReBeach project here. and people can go to, it's literally rebeach.org, rebeach.org. It's probably a story, right? But like, what got you to the point where you said, we're going to do this coastal resilience building initiative? What was it like leading up to that?
Yeah, that's a big question. But basically, Oceanside has a federal boat basin to the north, and we have also a small craft harbor that we share the mouth of that harbor with. And when those elements were constructed in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, it really altered how our coastline operates from a processes perspective. And so ever since then, we've had these sort of boom and bust periods on our beaches where we have lots of wide, healthy beaches, and then sometimes we have really degraded beaches where there's very little space to put a towel and or no space whatsoever. Like currently, we have a lot of low tide beaches. But when the Army Corps acknowledged, that the construction of the federal harbor caused all these erosion issues in Oceanside, they also had an authorization for a study. That study was at the full cost of the federal government, and it's actually taken a really, really long time to get to the completion of that study. And so ReBeach really developed out of this kind of major beach erosion loss over a short period of time, even after some regional efforts were made to restore beaches in Oceanside. That major catastrophic loss of sand caused a lot of the community to push the city towards figuring out how to solve this beach erosion issue and do it on our own, even if the Army Corps, isn't able to get everything done on a timely basis. And so ReBeach really stemmed from that need. So I would say, recognition that we had this catastrophic loss of sand over a short period of time brought a lot of that attention and energy to the coastline and the need to do something.
How is ReBeach different from a traditional beach nourishment, or does it differ?
Yeah, I'm hoping that all my videos are coming through right now. I'm getting some strange feedback. But so ReBeach, it started with the city saying, okay, well, let's do something other than just putting sand down, because what we were seeing is this loss of sand. As soon as we would put sand on the beach, in a couple of years, it would be gone, whether that would be from El Nino conditions or just, a couple high wave events that we were experiencing. And so what we wanted to do was retain some of the sand. But in Southern California, we've seen actually problems caused by using retention mechanisms like groins. And so we wanted to do something a little more innovative. We wanted to try a more novel approach to sand retention and a more nuanced approach. And something that was new. I mean, groins have really, the technology has developed somewhat, but there's not a whole lot of that in practice. And so we wanted to try something that was brand new. So we actually started with a design competition that we launched internationally. We had, over 30 companies trying to win out in this design competition to restore the beaches in Oceanside. We had those companies kind of gang together and create, super groups. And then in the end, we had 3 finalists that came from New York, from the Netherlands, and from Australia. And with those 3 teams working together, but also working siloed and trying to beat out each other, we arrived at the current ReBeach design, which is using an artificial reef and headlands and sand nourishment all together to rebuild the beaches in Oceanside. So that's how we're approaching it now.
Go ahead, Dan. Oh, I got you. He's in his break. All right. Pause. We're going to take our first break, and we'll come back with more with Jamie here on Tidal Flooding Talk. Base flood elevation is the level floodwaters are expected to reach in a major storm. Building below it puts your home at risk. Building just 1 foot above it can significantly lower flood insurance costs and reduce flood damage. And don't forget to elevate mechanical equipment like air conditioners and generators. Small changes can make a big difference. This message is brought to you by the New Jersey Coastal Coalition.
Hello, welcome back. You are watching Tidal Flooding Talk, and we are brought to you by the New Jersey Coastal Coalition. We would like to remind our viewers to protect natural floodplains. Floodplains like salt marshes and stream beds are nature's way of managing floodwaters while improving the environment. Help them do their job. Reduce boat speeds to minimize erosion, use fertilizers sparingly to protect water quality, and limit hard surfaces in your yard so rainwater can absorb naturally. A little effort goes a long way in protecting your community.
Awesome. We're back here with Jamie. And for those of you who are listening on podcast form without the video, Jamie has shared her screen. She has a couple of photos for us here. If you want to check it out on our YouTube channel or on our Facebook pages, you can see the video there. But Jamie, we'll turn it over to you and tell us what we're looking at here.
Okay, no problem. So these are just a smattering of photos from Oceanside's beaches. I should have air quoted beaches because all you probably see is wet sand and cobble, which is what we've been left with. All these areas that you're seeing in these photos were once healthy beaches. And then, we've done several tries to restore them on a regional basis, bringing in sand from offshore borrow areas. The last time these areas were nourished was in 2012 with what's called the Regional Beach Sand Project, and shortly after we nourished the beaches, we were left with cobble and low tide beaches only. The sand leaves our shoreline really fast, and a lot of that is attributed to Oceanside's lack of topography. We really don't have any coves. There's no reefs, no pocket beaches. It's really a straight coastline. And then, we also have had such issues with hanging on to sand that we now have a fair bit of revetment on the coastline protecting homes that were existing prior to the construction of all of the boat basin to the north of the city. So just wanted to showcase some of these photos. These photos come from a community advocacy group called Save Oceanside Sand. Save Oceanside Sand really got going in around 2021, 22, when they recognized that the community started to recognize this catastrophic loss of beach sand. And so a small advocacy group formed, and that group has now become a nonprofit, and they are I think 1,200 strong now of paying members. And so it's a very strong group that advocates for responsible sand management in Oceanside. And
Okay.
I'll stop sharing there unless you have any specific questions about what you're seeing.
No, I think we're okay with that. That was good. We appreciate it. A number or something that we always like to talk about is what were the numbers with this? How much did it cost? Where did the money come from? How did all this come about?
Yeah, so ReBeach, like I said, was a design competition initially. We weren't really offering very much to the winner except to be part of the overall design contract. And so, but all of that funding for the preliminary design, the design competition, the current phase of work, which is to get to 100% design and to get our permits in hand, all of that really has been funded through the city's general fund and also through ARPA funds. And we are funded through to being shovel ready, and we are not funded for construction at this point, but we're getting really creative with how to fund the next phase, the construction phase of ReBeach.
Should we come back for a future episode to hear what creative meant, or can you spill some beans on that?
I can enlighten a little bit. We have a small sales tax that was initiated in 2023, I believe it started, and continues on for the next 5 years. And that's a small sales tax initiative, some of which goes to ReBeach, some of which goes to many other infrastructure projects in Oceanside. We've also applied for several state grants. We think we might be successful with an earmark from NOAA, which would be great. But we have our hands in lots of pots. But we don't have anything confirmed yet.
Yeah, I think you got to be diversified. It's always I feel like it's more true now than ever, but it's always been a thing. You don't want all your hands in one pot, right? All right, we're gonna take one more break. We'll come back with our third segment here on Tidal Flood Talk. Thanks to the New Jersey Coastal Coalition, your flood insurance bills are lower and your streets safer from the reality of flooding. Since beginning in 2013, we build more resilient shoreline communities. Our member towns develop and share in best practices that anticipate future concerns and create flooding solutions. From our town-specific free web app for flooding information to our weekly Tidal Flooding Talk show, we focus on flooding 24/7. Visit www.njcoastalcoalition.com for more.
Welcome back to this week's Tidal Flooding Talk. We are on the West Coast, Oceanside, California, city of 174,000. Dealing with the same issues that we deal with on the East Coast. Jamie, how is the public and how have your residents kind of received and reacted to your efforts? I mean, beaches are very popular. Obviously, we want them restored. So what's been the public reaction in your city?
Yeah, overall, we've had a lot of public support. And I think that comes from the fact that we had such beach loss in such a short amount of time. In one generation, we've had folks like grow up on the beach and doing all sorts of water activities. Like, we're a really, really active city. And then to have those folks come back from college and see no beach, or to have, those folks come back from serving in the military and because we're a military town, come back and there's no more beach. It's brought a lot of alarm to the community. So for us to be working so proactively and swiftly on a fix, we've had a lot of forward momentum community support by and large. Can't win them all, but we've had a lot of overall community support.
Sure. And I'll ask this, when I'm thinking Southern California, I'm thinking about the surf, right? So how is the surf, how has this changed the surf? It sounds like it's probably for the better, but maybe there was a challenge that came along the way too.
Yeah, that's perceptive. So surf really, is super popular in Oceanside. Actually, we have a world title holder from Oceanside, Caitlin Simmers. She was a 2024.
Is it you? Oh, never mind.
Not quite. But so yeah, we have folks that are, born and bred on the beaches of Oceanside. And surfing is really important. We have the Supergirl competition, which also happens I think in Jacksonville, Florida. So there's only a couple of stops for that competition, and one of them is at Oceanside. So, but surfing only can happen if there's some sand to break up the waves on. And when we had this big loss of sand, we also lost our sandbars. So the beaches weren't eroding and creating sandbars offshore for surfers to surf on. And then those sandbars weren't replenishing the beaches in that natural processes any further. And so what we have now is degraded surfing conditions, where the surf is still good in parts of Oceanside, still good in the hot spots around the pier, actually around the jetties and the groins that are to the north, where we've had some sand retention. But in areas to the south, by and large, we just don't have sandbars to break up the waves on any further. And so this project, though it's going to change the surf in the area where the project is, it's also going to bring back a whole lot more sand. We're going to be introducing a lot of sand, and we expect that sand to migrate out and create more of those sandbars. So actually augment the surfing resources and surf amenities that we have existing in Oceanside.
Jamie, do you see that the successes you'll hopefully have can be replicated in other communities? I know you say your coastline's very, very straight, so it's a magnet for erosion. Are other communities nearby and neighboring towns seeing the same type of problems and seeking the same type of solutions?
Yeah, actually, this is the case. So our project is a pilot project to Oceanside, even though we expect it to be $60 million or so. It's a pilot project to us. It is not a pilot project to the winning design team. So we have on our contract for design, we have International Coastal Management, ICM, and they're from the Gold Coast of Australia, where they've tested out these artificial reefs in the same setting in several locations, and several locations on the Gold Coast, several locations on the west coast of Australia, and then throughout the world. And so to them, this isn't a pilot project. They're helping us replicate a tried and true design method that's worked in other parts of the world. But for California and for Southern California specifically, where we have this, coastal squeeze with development right up to the edge of the water, this is kind of a shining light, if you will, for potentially how we can fix some of the issues here. Like we can't really retreat off the coast. There's a housing crunch. There's all sorts of other issues with the costs of relocating homes on the coast. And so instead, we're looking to build out the west side, bring back the beaches, use the beaches as a form of coastal resilience, and try and keep those beaches around so that they keep that buffer between the ocean and the built environment. So yes, in summary, a lot of the other coastal areas around us are looking to us as an example to follow.
Awesome. Well, hey, Jamie, we appreciate you coming on and talking with us about ReBeach. The website's rebeach.org. Is there anywhere else where people can go to kind of see updates and what's going on?
Yeah, in Oceanside, we're doing a whole lot of different things for coastal management. So if you'd like to, use your favorite search engine to look up Oceanside Coastal Management, you can see all the other things that we're working on, which includes restoring coastal dunes, which are very small in California, but nonetheless very useful and helpful as a nature-based tool.
Are you jealous of our dunes in New Jersey? Is that what you're trying to say?
I'm jealous of the community acceptance of dunes in New Jersey. Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. That's good. See, that's interesting. We should talk about that another day, how other people think about things. Anyway, no, thanks, Jamie. We appreciate it. We're going to wrap up with the way we always do, with the one thing we can't stop talking about, tidal flooding or otherwise. Dan, what's on your mind, man?
Well, I guess as we're taping this in mid to late July, there's talk in the political world about the Sunshine Protection Act, year-round daylight saving time. I'm going to put my vote in for year-round standard time. Maybe an unpopular opinion, but I would just like no clock change, but year-round standard
100%.
time.
I have been saying it forever
Palmer, you're
because
in on
I
that one
hate that
too?
it gets so dark in the winter so early, and I'm like, it naturally gets dark, so why are we making it happen even earlier? But it's just me. I just want there not to no change. Like,
Wait, so
just
you want
keep
the sunsets to
time.
be later in December?
Let's go with what it naturally does. We don't need to change anything.
No change. It's okay. Okay. Keep the time the same.
Okay.
So, Jamie, if you have something special that's on your mind, that's fine. Otherwise, I'm curious to hear what a West Coast California opinion is on this.
Oh, I don't know if I have an opinion. I think maybe not changing anything is probably the right way to go. I mean, we travel enough and trick our bodies into different time zones all the time, which is all really hard. So
what's like sunlight in like December out your way? Like, when's the sun rise? It's down at 5. What time does it rise? All right, so that's a little, yeah, okay. All right. Well, I was going to talk about lifeguards at a beach bar, but I'll switch and talk about I'll talk about, now Jamie's interested. All right, maybe. Well, all right. So, all right, I'll do that. But briefly, man, I would like it to be all one time. I think the way it is now is pretty good, but man, I would really like to see us just kind of like shift all of North America's time zones into a better spot because I think we can do better with where those lines are drawn. I don't know. It's a tough one. It's a tough one. I don't have like I kind of I don't know. I think whatever it is, in my opinion. But because Jamie was maybe interested, so I was at a beach bar that I won't name in New Jersey not too long ago, and there were lifeguards there. Now there's one lifeguard stand. Granted, this beach is not that wide, right? Because it's private property, so it's or however it works in New Jersey, whatever you want to call it. So anyway, my question aloud is that a cool job? Is it cool to be a lifeguard on the ocean at a beach bar? Or because on one hand, like there's a lot of good people watching, but on the other hand, you probably have to do these stupid rescues that you probably wouldn't have to do otherwise. So I don't know. Is it cool? Is it not cool? I don't know. I haven't let me know what everyone what all the listeners think. I'm not sure where I stand.
Probably
on
gets
that one yet.
old.
But if you guys have any thoughts, let me know, Jamie, Palmer, or Dan. Gets all. So you think it's better to be a lifeguard in a non-beach bar area?
I would think so.
Okay. Jamie? Well, they did. I mean, that was the thing. I mean, we were there for probably 2 hours and there was probably 4 rescues, which I think is a lot for literally a 1 block area, essentially what you're talking about, 1 street block area. The thing is too, where I was, maybe this gives it away for New Jersey people. It was very steep, the slope of the beach. I mean, you're out like, water's edge, 20, 30 feet. You're pretty much at your head at that point. So it's not like the rescues are long. Like you're trekking out there. It's pretty like these rescues, they do in under a minute.
I think I might have got it, but I won't say.
I don't know. I think it could be cool, but I don't know. I haven't thought enough about it yet.
No,
but it's
I
on
think
my
I
mind,
figured
so.
it out where you're talking about, but I'm not going to say.
You have an answer? Oh, okay. All right. Well, we'll talk about it after this episode goes. But anyway, thank you, Jamie, for coming on. We appreciate it. For Palmer Shiles, Dan Skeldon, I'm Joe Martucci. Like and subscribe, whether it's on podcast platforms or YouTube. We really appreciate it. And we'll talk to you next week.